So moving on, we received a bunch of questions that I would like to quickly answer on. Every country has its own system. How does the school prepare the students to continue education after they have completed your school? This is a very good question. And yes, you are right about every country having its own system. And then there are multiple international school systems like IB or I don't know, A levels and other sort of international systems. So basically what we do is we say that in order for us to be able to prepare a student to a national exam, whatever this exam is, we not to prepare for a national exam, to prepare a student for high school's admissions, in whichever country you are willing to get to high school, we need 2 years. So we can do it in a year, but not always. We don't promise to make it in a year. To be sure, we need 2 years. Of course, you can send a kid for 1 year and we will not hold you with our arms and legs and say, no, please stay. But I mean, if you have 2 years, it's always better, because in 2 years, we have enough time to make sure that, first of all, we teach the student everything they need to know. And then we also have enough time to prepare them to this specific exam they are about to pass. We've had experiences of students entering successfully in the UK schools and American schools. I mean, good high schools. We've had a lot of students passing, a lot of students from Austria passing a lot of Austrian national exams. Taking into account that none of us speaks German, I think that's a big achievement for us. But all of our Austrian students always passed all of their Austrian exams. So basically, yeah, the trick here, I would say, is that generally middle school curriculum is not very intense. And so the middle school and high school knowledge-wise requirements are not very high. What all those tests require is some sort of preparation for this particular test, for this particular format, and us being more advanced and having more individual approach, we have this opportunity to prepare to cover fully whatever they need to know, and even more, and still have time to prepare a student for the exam they need to pass in the end of the school year. So that's how we deal with national standards. But one condition we have is that if there is a national exam or a high school exam, or a high school you're applying to an exam that goes with it, please let us know about it as soon as you know. Like, don't expect us to be monitoring every day if there are any changes in, I don't know what, Hungarian national education system. Like, if you have some info, share it with us, don't hide, and it's all gonna work well. What are the language requirements? Should the child be fluent in English? Have there been cases with kids with the English level under B2 join the school, etc.? So yeah, there's a bunch of questions about the English level. I would say there have been cases of students not being fluent enough in English joining the school. I would not recommend you do that if you are a parent, you're not sure about your kid's level of English. I mean, it also depends on age and on different circumstances. English level being the only requirement, formal requirement we have, is there for a reason. But then when you pass this exam, there is no like formal exam that you have to pass if you are not native English speaker or you have not spent your whole life studying in an English level circumstances, like Ruben, for example, did. Then you talk to some of our teachers and they say if it would work for you or not. I would say it's worth trying. You have nothing to lose if you are considering Sallay as a school, but you're not sure, and the only thing that you're not sure about is your kid's English level. go for it, apply, we'll talk, and we'll see. We really avoid situations when students feel deeply uncomfortable for their English level being not enough. So I would say if we accept a student with the English level they have, then we manage and we take care of their emotional well-being in that part as well. Which foreign languages do you teach? We teach Spanish and French, and we also teach Russian, which is Russian literature for those who speak Russian on an advanced level, and just Russian as second language, Russian foreign language for those for whom it's the first experience of talking, of learning Russian. Would you consider accepting a 9.5-year-old child? I would say, well, we would consider, but I would say I would prefer to see you in a year. The only reason why I would say we would say reject an application from a 9.5-year-old child is that spending 3 weeks away from home is not that easy experience, and they will be surrounded by everyone being older than them, and this is about their above emotional and social emotional well-being more than their intellectual capacities or academic level. I would definitely prefer a student to join us 1 year later and then enjoy this experience 10,000 times more than joining us 1 year earlier and then having a bad start. What the admissions deadline? Are there any entrance interviews or exams? So as we said, basically the only interview for a simple admission is the English level interview, and then we'll also have an interview with our psychologist or like one of the founders. We just look at the kid, and what we do is basically make sure that the student realizes where they are applying, why they are applying, that they want to do this, or at least they're not very much against this. And then another admissions deadline. There are deadlines for scholarship admissions. For general admissions, there is no particular deadline, but we don't have that much places for next school year. So I would say I would recommend to hurry up if you're considering this. It's better to start the negotiations process and then you will have more time. But if you send the application very lately, then you just might be late. Question to Liha. So Liha, there is a question from other viewers. The question is, did you prepare your son in some way before transitioning to a new school? My child doesn't really like change and he will not find friends in the online school. How did your child settle in, and do you feel that he has good relationship with other students?
So I did not really, we can't really say I prepared him to transition into the new school more than other times. We did talk about it. It was a common decision. So of course, I can't just say tomorrow you're going to the Sallay and I'm just sending him there. We built the excitement around it. So I got him to view some of the videos that were available on the Facebook page, I think. Back then, I got him to check the website so that he gets an idea of what it is about. We checked on Google Maps where exactly Le Sallay was. So this is the first part, kind of that he got into the idea he was going there, and we talked about the long 3-week separation. He was one of those kids who had never left us for more than, I think he once 1 week away, and that was it. Never, ever left his parents. Did he make friends? Yes, he did. He also doesn't always like changes, especially when it's away from the family. He normally adjusts quite okay at schools, but it can take time. In the case of Le Sallay, because they started the kickoff with a boarding session, it seems that it went really well. Maybe Anna would say better, or she would know better how it actually went during those first 3 weeks. But for the online part, then I would say that my son is usually quiet, and he's social, but he's not super outgoing in the first place. He's not very extrovert, while others of my children are. This one is not, but it seems that quickly he's made friends. And when he came back from the first session, he immediately talked about many of them, and he also got into they created a group. They play D&D, so that Dragon and Dungeon game, online. And it was a big discussion about whether he could skip family dinner, because on Danish time it's during family dinner time, so that he could actually go online and play with all his friends, those who wake up in California at 7 so that they can play, and those who stay up late in Russia, after in Novosibirsk, I think he said, so that they could also join the group. So I would say, yes, he's made friends. He must have somehow good relationships with them because he talks about them. And now we have just talked about it this week. He's planning to see if we could invite some of them to come over for summer holidays, so they don't have to wait until September to see each other again. So I guess it's working well, but I'm also sure that Anna and Aruka can say more about what's happening during the boarding sessions.
Well, what happens on the boarding session stays in the boarding session. No, I'm just kidding, but we try to be respectful towards students' privacy, and we understand that teenagers need this badly when it comes to adults talking about whatever happens to them. I would say Ruben fit in very easily, and like taking into account everything that Liha told us when they were dropping him, like she said, so first of all, it's his birthday tomorrow. It's like was our first meeting, and she's like, I'm giving you a 12-year-old kid, you are returning me a 13-year-old teenager. It's your responsibility for him to be a good teenager. And I was like, okay, that's quite a burden. And then she said, it's the first time he's going away from home. And then he also had a roommate called David, and Liha said, and he has a brother called David, so I don't think that's a good flashback for him. And I was like, okay, is there a better start that I could go on with? But it all went like really well, and I would say super smooth.
I had a really good experience with kid adjusting and socially, emotionally adjusting. I mean, always the first session is a bit harder and challenging, especially for the new kids. But I would say this year it pretty much worked well for everyone. I mean, I would say by the third session, by the third on-site session that happened right now, everyone has already settled, found its place in the school socially, found their friends, and they feel really at home right now where they are.